Hey, what's going on, guys? So I just finished reading the Wolverine Omnibus Volume 1. So today I'm going to give you a brief overview of the book and give you some of my thoughts on the stories contained within. So let's jump right into that. All right, here it is, and I went with the DM cover just because I really prefer that classic Wolverine, come here look. There is the spine, for those of you interested in seeing that. And as you can tell, it's a pretty thick book. So let's take this off and get right into it. So same thing under the dust jacket, looking very nice. And you can see here, this is the alternative cover that you could get. You see kind of why I don't like this one as much. I mean, it's still cool, but nothing beats the classic right here. Anyway, let's jump right into this book. And so pretty much what this book is, it's just a collection of Wolverine, some first appearances of his, his origin story, and then his series that they had. So, it starts off with Weapon X, which is the story of basically how Wolverine was kidnapped and he was put through this experiment, which, that is the origin of how he got his adamantium skeleton and how he got his claws. And I love all the artwork of the series. It really pops. And it's, like the things people say about the series, when people talk about the series, you hear these amazing things. And let me tell you, it is definitely worth the praise. I did not think I would enjoy it this much. I knew it'd be good. I just thought it'd be sort of like a typical origin story, though. But I was really enthralled by this series and just... I don't know, it very much felt like, sometimes you get so immersed into a comic and then it just feels like you're watching a movie. That is what this one felt like. And it's harder, I think, for some older comics to do that, for at least from my perspective as a 23-year-old who didn't, grow up reading these. But I really got encapsulated into the story of this one. And, with them experimenting on him going into like berserker mode, he may or may not break out, may or may not have to hunt them down, tap into that primal part of Wolverine. I mean, it was just really cool to see. And I'll tell you, it was satisfying from beginning to end. I mean, seriously, look at the artwork. When people put this on their list of comic book masterpieces, it absolutely makes sense to me why they did that, because it is so amazing, and I cannot give it much higher praise than that because I am maxed out on praise for it. I mean, come on, takes on, what is that, a mountain lion? Come on. This is Wolverine, and he's the best he is at what he does. But what he does, let me tell you, it isn't very nice. I'm joking saying that because, I mean, it's true, but I'm joking saying that because literally a lot of these miniseries in here, a lot of the books in here, when they're introducing Wolverine, because, old comics, they have to go and do the thing. Here's the covers. They have to go and do the thing where they do a recap. They let you know who the character is, let you know their abilities. And most of them start with them, like, Logan narrating, saying, like, my name's Wolverine. I'm the best there is at what I do, but what I do isn't very nice. And I thought it was hilarious. I love it. It's a cool line. And you can tell they thought it was very cool because they use it over and over again. So here is the Incredible Hulk 180, which is it's the first cameo appearance of Wolverine. So, he sort of pops in at the end here. Boom, there he is in his more luchador-looking outfit because, we didn't know what Wolverine was at this point. And then this is probably a very familiar cover to most people. If you're interested in the X-Men, interested in comics, because this is the first appearance of Wolverine, the first full appearance. And he takes on the Hulk, and, this puny little Canadian man, he gives the Hulk a serious run for his money. And it's a pretty fun fight, and it's a pretty funny fight at certain points because, they're fighting the Wendigo, and then the Hulk is like, oh, I guess, like, Wolverine's fighting the Wendigo too. I guess he's my friend. And Wolverine's like, yeah, sure, we're friends. And then as soon as the Wendigo's taken care of, Wolverine just, bounces back and attacks Hulk, and they get in their little skirmish, which is iconic now, and I hope we get to see it in the MCU one day. Here's another short little story. There's a bunch of short little stories of Wolverine in here. This is where he's in a bar. You know, he gets a lot of them take place in a bar, and Hercules comes in and steals all the ladies in there pretty much, and is kind of being a jerk. And you know, they get into a little fight, and then they are like, you know what, that was a good fight. Let's have a couple drinks. So it's just a fun little story. You know, there's a lot of stuff in here about Wolverine in Japan, dealing with some stuff. And then boom, here is Wolverine's limited series, and that's the very classic cover right there. And you know, this deals with some Mariko things, if I'm saying that correctly. Mariko. And you know, these stories, what is really nice about them is that, and I think Chris Claremont says it in here in one of these forwards, they were talking about, they didn't want to do like a Wolverine comic where he's just, you know, a savage, killing. I mean, he kind of is like that. But they wanted him to have this samurai mentality of honor, this very strong morality of honor. Like he has his code and he really sticks to it. And I mean, that is like the basis of the Wolverine we know and love today. And they did that very well. And so this comic, it's cool. It feels like a classic samurai movie too. And you know, they're dealing with like fighting ninjas, fighting for honor, samurai swords, and you know, Wolverine, he takes his licks, but you know, he's got that unbreakable skeleton, so nothing puts him down for good. And these are just really cool stories. I think that's Yumiko. That's her name. You know, all about living on the edge and whatnot. And you know, basically in this story, Mariko is engaged or married to someone else actually, and Wolverine is trying to stop that because you know she was sort of forced into it. So he's doing what he can to get her out of that. And the guy, you know, kind of a scumbag. He's beating up on her. So you know, Wolverine, let's just say he succeeds. All right, he succeeds in stopping that. And then they're getting ready for a wedding, Wolverine and Mariko, and he invites the X-Men to the wedding, and it was really endearing after, you know, going through all these pages of Wolverine's hardship and struggles to just have like the X-Men get there and for them to just chill with him and be happy with him. I mean, obviously, you know, some skirmishes happen while they're there. Storm meets Yumiko, and you know, it was like, man, I love your free spirit, blah blah blah. And I think this is where Storm actually, you know, was like, you know, I'm gonna be a free spirit. I'm gonna go through like my character progression, and she gets that mohawk, that iconic Storm mohawk look. And you know, the wedding here, for an unfortunate reason, doesn't happen, and I'll let you discover that yourself. And then we get the 6-issue limited series, Kitty Pryde and Wolverine, and this is another limited series in here that I really enjoy. I mean, Kitty Pryde is one of my favorite characters. There's something very endearing and fun about her to me, and I love her power set. I love when writers use it in really creative ways. Like, I don't know if anyone's reading like Marauders right now, but whenever Kitty Pryde gets in fights in Marauders, she is using her phasing powers in such cool and inventive ways. It's just totally kicking butt. I love to see it. And you know, this is where she's not like that yet. She's not even close to being like that yet. But this is a series that Kitty Pryde gets so much growth in. I mean, she comes to Japan looking to help out her dad. You know, he's in trouble with the mafia over there, and she gets sucked into this whole thing. She gets brainwashed. You know, her hair gets chopped off. She becomes a servant of evil. And then, you know, Wolverine steps up, and helps her get out of that. But there's, even when he gets her back, there's still so much she has to overcome, because now there's all these mental issues. The brainwashing really had a big effect on her, and she has to, you know, sort of overpower the mental stuff with just pure willpower. And, you know, it's defining for Kitty Pryde. It's a really important series for her. So if you're interested in Kitty Pryde as a character and you want to know more about how she became who she is today and who she is in these later X-Men books, and you know, sort of the responsibility that she has to take on, then I highly recommend at least reading this series. If you're not going to pick up this omnibus, this is also collected in the Uncanny X-Men Omnibus Volume 4. So if you want to get it there, you can get it there as well. And then just the climax here is super cool, and they tell this story about two samurais in the olden days, who they both come to a bridge, and they neither will move because they think they're the greater samurai, and they're like, only the best samurai can cross the bridge, and that's sort of a metaphor that plays in here. And I won't mention what happens with that or how that ends up playing out, but it's pretty cool, and I really enjoy it. And there's Kitty with some ice cream. I don't like the short haircut, but I understand why it had to happen, and it's definitely, I think, part of the trauma for Kitty there. Then we get this Captain America annual. Honestly, I wasn't the biggest fan of this. It's basically just, Captain America and Wolverine team up and, stop some adamantium from being robbed, and it is what it is. And then we get this extremely dark Spider-Man versus Wolverine series, where I forget where they are. Maybe they're in Russia or something, or something. I think like the KGB is after someone, and Spider-Man gets involved in this, and Wolverine is very close friends with the person who the KGB is after. And there's some dark stuff in here. There's suicide, and Spider-Man is left dealing with a lot of that, and I think he has a lot of remorse and regret about coming on this trip, and it is seriously dark, but it's a great read, and it's very sad. Then we get the Incredible Hulk 340, very classic cover right here. And this is Wolverine's very famous fight with Gray Hulk, where the way it ends is sort of just, okay, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't have been fighting, and they're like, yeah, maybe we shouldn't have been. We both have better things to do. I think this is maybe another mini thing going on. Oh, this is where he fights Razor Fist, which is funny because I'm not really familiar with the character of Razor Fist. Then I was like, he looks familiar though. Like, I don't know him, but he looks familiar. And then I realized he's in the Shang-Chi trailer. So if you want to learn a little bit about Razor Fist, check this out. And this is stuff too. This is really relevant to the seeds that are being planted in the MCU right now, because we're now in like Wolverine's series, and a lot of these stories, they take place in Madripoor. And they deal with like what's going on in the low town of Madripoor, and the power vacuum that is there. And we get Jessica Drew in it, and her friend whose name I forget. They're actually really fun characters to be introduced into this, and they're almost like the viewer character because they're unfamiliar with Madripoor to some extent, and Wolverine is like sort of guiding them, giving them the lay down. There's some awesome Silver Samurai stuff in here. He's a really interesting, nuanced character who is like, he's got that samurai thing, where it's like, you're not good, you're not bad, but you have your own code and your own goals, and you are certainly going to stick to it. And he helps Wolverine out at this time. And now there's a question of whether he actually knows it's Wolverine, because Wolverine in Madripoor, he just goes by Patch. Because at this time, the X-Men are assumed dead, but really they're in their base in Australia, and all of that. But yeah, it's definitely a fun read. Nothing too crazy happens. And then we get Mr. Fix-It involved, Hulk over here, who, this is my first encounter with him as Mr. Fix-It, and he's kind of the best this way, in my opinion. I don't normally like Hulk that much, but this kind of investigative reporting muscle Hulk is really fun to see, and it was really fun to see him interact with Wolverine. Yeah, then we get this Punisher crossover right here. Then, that's it, and the book sort of just, it ends right there. You would get some brief extras. And, there's a volume 2 of this book coming out, I think, in July. So I'll be looking forward to picking that up. Alright guys, until next time, I'm currently working on X-Men Grand Design, so I'll have that for you hopefully soon. But like, comment, subscribe, let me know what's going on. Let me know if you picked this up or want to pick this up, and thanks for watching.